On, have the consent agenda of items. Everybody's had an opportunity to look those over. Thank you. Seconded by John Willie. Roll call, please.
Barr. Giovanini. Eckhoff. Yes. Callis. Lee. Hicks.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, we have to the regular agenda. We have a presentation on the PTES food forest. And I understand Bailey is going to be giving us this presentation. With help, okay. Oh, it's a quartet, okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Do you guys like Uptown Girl? No, I'm just joking. Yeah. No, yeah. Oh, don't get him started. Hi, everyone. My name is Bailey Ritter, and I'll be starting us off tonight. I am the owner of Everyone's Collective here in town, which is a zero waste store and environmental education nonprofit right next to FOFS. I came to these three. Well, actually, I came to my dad's class in August, the first week of school, because for a couple of months now, I've had this wild, crazy, harebrained idea to take two of the issues that I'm most passionate about, which is food insecurity and access to fresh food and climate change, finding a way to bring both of those together here in our community. And so I walked in. I had no idea if any of these seniors would ever want to think about coming on board and doing something like this with me. And as soon as I was done presenting this concept, which you all will learn more about from these three, I had Mackenzie and Grace come up to me with a presentation they had already done, trying to convince me why they were the ones who wanted to come on board to this. I was at first like, did you make that while I was speaking? What's happening here? But as you'll get to see, these three are so passionate about this project and this idea. I'm just so thankful to be their community partner on this. So without further ado, take it away, Mackenzie.
Thank you, Bailey. Hi, everyone. Grace Rice and Claire Smith, and I'm Mackenzie Coates, and we are seniors here at Pontiac in Mr. Ritter's Environmental Earth Science class, where this project really began for us. Now let's get started on what a food forest really is. A food forest is a diverse planting of native species that mimic ecosystems already found in nature, while also providing fresh produce for communities in need.
So for our missions on this food forest, we want to really make sure to kind of decrease the food insecurity that we do have here in Pontiac. By doing this, we are rewilding this urban area and creating a certain affinity towards the people and their land. We want to make sure that everyone is educated on where they live and how we can actually create something like this right in your backyard.
Yeah, so we decided to do this because of the shockingly high number or amount of food insecurity in Pontiac and the lack of native plants we have. This food forest is going to combat both of those issues for us, and it's a lot different than your average annual garden because it's going to have perennials, which are going to reduce carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and in turn just like help with climate change.
Now, we are not set in stone to any one specific plant, so if anyone has any ideas or opinions they would like to have in our food forest, we are open to anything. Everything that we will be growing is going to be native to Illinois to help with our goal of bringing back native plants. Some examples that we really love so far are hazelnuts, elderberries, currants, raspberries, and even pawpaws. Now, you might not know what a pawpaw is, and neither did we a couple weeks ago, but we had the privilege of going to a food forest in Normal and all trying a pawpaw for the first time. And interestingly enough, it actually tastes like, even though it technically is not, a mix between a kiwi and a banana. We are really hoping to bring pawpaws and other fruits so that other people can have an experience just like us. Now, the big question is where this is going to take place. We are fortunate enough we scouted out a lot of areas around town, but some of them just didn't have the greatest soil quality for us to grow our produce. But luckily, Taylor Baxter and the streets department helped us figure out that this corner of Cleary and Oak Street has great soil quality along with many other benefits that we were looking for, such as it already has access to water, there's a community garden on the lot, it is in close proximity to walk downtown, and surrounding it are lower income homes which we are hoping are use that food. The area is about 70 by 120 feet, which is giving us lots of room to grow.
And as you can imagine, this is going to take many hands. So we have on board with us Cal Hackler, who is a master gardener, and then Nick Frillman, who is also a master gardener, who we met at the Food Forest, runs the Food Forest in Normal. And the FFA program is also going to help us to figure out which plants we are going to plant. And then alongside the environmental earth science class, which we are all a part of, are going to start planting in April.
So for the timeline, we have already been doing our research. We feel like obviously there's so much more to do, but we have an outline of what we want to do and what we are asking for. For the feedback and resources, we do have a donation that we just found out about by a man named Mr. Fritz, and he has donated $10,000 to create a food forest in our town. So for that, we are super grateful, and the money will be taken care of. For planting and things like that, we have the help of Cal Hackler and Bailey and Paul Ritter. They're going to be, we can all work together as a team with that. And then the prep for year 2, we have Adrienne Sutton. She's a junior at the high school in the FFA program, and she'll be working with that program to continue to help students care for this food forest.
Now, a project like this takes many hands, and we are fortunate enough to be working with many great people and organizations to help us through the way, such as Emerson's Collective, Everyone's Collective with Bailey Ritter, U of I Extension with Nick Frillman, Mr. Ritter in our Environmental Earth Science class, Cal Hackler, our Master Gardener, Taylor Baxter in the Parks and Rec program, and Jesse Faber and Adrienne Sutton in the FFA program.
So we do have some success measurables that we've set aside to make sure that we meet and we are meeting others' needs. Some of those are, again, just numbers going down in the food insecurity. We want to make sure that people are getting what they need at the time that they need it, and this can be anonymous. This will be difficult to measure the amount of people that are actually getting what they need, but we can do this hopefully in the future, having like a community dinner. That way we can, see the amount of people that show up to that, and that will help us to kind of count the number of people that are getting resources from this. One of our other success measurables, obviously, is going to be the amount of students that are getting help with continuing their, education on the environment and things like that. So we can use surveys, things that, assignments, stuff like that, that we can make sure to kind of have a baseline understanding of how we're helping.
Does anyone have any questions for us?
Assist.
We're honestly not sure on a number. We're just hoping anybody that comes that gets any type of help. Really not a big number, just as long as it helps more.
It's about an acre. They've had it.
Yeah.
You haven't been there.
And all of the resources will be free, so people can just come and get what they need when they need it. So hopefully we're hoping that that kind of attracts people so they can anonymously come and get whatever they're needing at the time.
So you're gonna fill up that whole space.
Eventually, not in year 1.
Yeah, not next year.
We'll start little, and just every group like us, there'll always be like hopefully 3 students at Pontiac that take on this project, and they'll grow every year and plant more.
And you're working with Taylor here. And what is Taylor gonna give, how else can we help?
The one thing that we're really focused on is to have workers for next summer. So the one thing that we want is the Parks and Rec workers that are like do the summer crew around all of the parks. We're hoping that they can help maintain that at first, but there's really not that much to be taken care of.
The three of us will be around this summer before we go off to college, so we can help, kind of plan everything out and start planting. But then after that, we're just looking for, people that can help maintain after we go off to college.
So you're gonna bring in your own replacements, in other words?
Yes,
Right.
we
So,
are.
yeah.
Okay. So you're recruiters besides being the starters.
Well, Mackenzie works for us now. Get it.
I did commit.
All the way through.
Unfortunately, I'm already stuck on it. We'll also have a guidebook to help people learn how to plant. So like everything that we're doing this year, we're going to document for the future students so they know what to do. But yeah, I'll be here all summer helping out with Taylor.
So your recruiting process started now?
It is. Yep.
Okay, very good. It sounds like a great project, and I've heard of these before, and we have a need. Let's hope it keeps growing, and your volunteers are enthused as much as you are. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank
Great
you.
job,
Thank
girls.
I know, right?
You notice that Paul dodged the bullet.
It definitely was shorter, I would agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Airport solar lease. I believe, Helen, you're gonna,
Yeah, this is an ordinance that would approve an option for a lease with ESP. This. Stack here. Have ordinance, in the ordinance, don't have one attached. I just got the lease, I don't have the ordinance.
I
But-
have the first page,
Okay.
I didn't bring it
You
all.
didn't get the lease, okay. Well, anyway, there's an ordinance that approves, a lease option with ESP Solar, which is affiliated with Synergy, which was the developer of the existing solar farm out of the airport. And there'd been some discussion previously, if the council, the people that are on the council, when we did the original one, will recall, there were originally 4 sites, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, and there was a lottery system through the state to get those approved and get funding for it. And I think it was 1B for us that actually won in the lottery. That's why we have a solar farm out of the airport. They're in the process, we already entered into a lease previously for 1A, which is another 11-acre development, very similar to the one that's out there right now, adjacent to the Burnside property. And this would give them an option to enter into a similar lease at a later date for a larger site, which is basically 2A and 2B combined, and a little bigger. It's on the other side of I-55. The drawing's on the back of the lease. The option, it says up to 28 usable acres. When we have a lease, they'll have the full survey of it. And the originals were like 22 acres. So, they're utilizing a slightly different footprint of property. So if this moves forward and we do get to the lease stage and it goes to zoning, we have to go through the zoning process again. We already rezoned the 2A, 2B sites for a special use for a solar farm. But I advised them, since they were expanding the footprint, they'd have to go through the zoning. And the terms are identical to what we have in the existing leases, and the primary term is $2,000 per acre rent, per acre once, and a 2% annual inflation rider, non-compounded, just a straight 2%. And it gives them the option for 24 months to notify us that they do want to enter into a lease, and then we negotiate the terms of a lease. We've done 2 of them, so I suspect it would look very similar. And they will pay a non-refundable $1,000 option payment once once the council approves this, in consideration for us granting that option. So, we've gone through it before. I don't think this is a surprise because even while Bob was still working, we'd had several communications from Chad at Synergy about the plans to go ahead and try to finish the development of the 4 sites they'd started with. So this would finish that out with a little extra, and if it is 28 acres, that's $56,000 a year rent. But these are fairly complicated once you get to the approval stage because it's on airport property. They have to go through the Department of Transportation and the FFA to get approval to make sure it doesn't in any way interfere with her. This is not to approve the lease, but to approve the option for a lease, but it does commit us to a lease if we can agree on terms down the road, if they find it to be feasible.
I just have a question just separate of the lease. What happens when they,
Well, the decommissioning is provided for in our ordinance, and they have to restore the property, and they posted bond to do that first. And it's not a large bond because the recoverable material is quite valuable. In fact, an argument to be said that there's more material to take out of there to recycle than there is the cost of removing it. Because what they do, the posts that are put down are just pushed down by pressure. They're not anchored in foundation or ground. So you pull the post, pull the wires, and move on. You don't have all the big equipment coming in like you do for wind farm where you have action. You don't have a 30 by 30 foot square of concrete, 5 foot deep. So it's fairly easy to disconnect. But they're responsible for doing it. And we will have an additional bond. There'll be a bond free. That bond is to cover it if they don't do what they're supposed to do, to allow us to go get it done. And the only issue we've had, to my knowledge, with the existing solar farm has been a lack of maintenance, which we noticed that it needs mowed and such. We've contacted them and always got a quick response, but we shouldn't have had to do that. And they've now represented to us that they've hired a contractor with an automatic time program to take care of that. So hopefully next summer we won't have a problem with having to call them to say, hey, it needs. But other than that, they've paid the rent. You know, they seem to be a good neighbor. It's quiet, not visible from a long distance. It does not interfere with the airport. I asked this question when they were doing the first one. They use a special non-reflective glass or covering on the solar panel. So you'd think maybe if the sun was wrong and you're flying over, you get sun reflection. But apparently it's anti-reflective.
But at this point, we're just approving.
We're giving them a legal option though, yeah. So if they've given an option, they have a right to lease it if they come back and say, hey, it meets our requirements, we've got a place to sell the electricity, we've got funding, and the only thing we have to do is negotiate the specific terms, which a lot of these companies, like the private ones going door to door to the farmers, have their existing lease that they're submitting with this. Well, we have an existing lease with them that would be the template. So we're not going to create any, they've been, as a company, really good to work with. Jim will tell you they're extremely responsive. You send an email, get a response in half an hour. Very responsive.
Good.
So this says Pontiac 2A. I guess my question is not.
It's 2A and 2B together.
Ooh.
2A, 2B.
you were waiting for that one. It's
Actually, the site on the back is what you're signing off on. But it basically was originally 2A and 2B plus a little farmland. So it's utilizing.
Are we reaching, do we know, like, so this will bring us to how many acres of solar on?
So we have 11 acres existing, another 11 acres you've approved, and this will be, if this is 28, we'd have 22, and 28 is 60.
And how much is the total acreage there?
I'd have to look at the
Ready?
plan, but it's hundreds of acres.
Still a lot of active farm.
I mean,
And
I thought
it's-
so, I just wasn't sure
And
what
I
the
don't think
percentage
we're in a
was
spot
you
where
would-
it
yeah.
interferes with the prospective cross runway. I know the FAA was,
Yeah,
might be a house that. So this is a very intensive approval process. Last time they went through the process, they had their engineer and they reimbursed the city for using Crawford, Murphy and Tilly, who's our airport engineer. So they worked hand in hand with our airport, to make sure everything was up.
Any other questions? If not, yeah.
See in other towns, panels. Pretty much one order.
We reviewed that at the time Pontiac Towers came in with their request. And that is a permissible accessory use on anybody's house. Now, you may have a subdivision restriction that would prevent it, but from the city standpoint, rooftop solar is generally gonna be approved. You approved a variance of the size for Pontiac Towers, a much larger area. But rooftop solar, if it was a yard-based panel, if it didn't cover too much space, it'd just be an accessory. So our ordinance just permits it like any other accessory structure. And there have been, unbeknownst to me, Dave indicated they've had quite a bit of activity. There's a lot of salesmen going around selling those. There's some pretty good tax incentives and other incentives for them, make them looking for that.
Well, I'm sure we're gonna see.
Oh, there'll be a lot more. Those are private though. Those are ones people put on like on their own. If I had one in my backyard, I imagine it would be a victim of golf.
no
At
doubt.
your house.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the theory? Motion by
Ordinance.
Jamie, seconded by Don Hicks. Roll call, please.
Giovannini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Gaber,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to a redevelopment agreement for 314 North Main.
The last council meeting, the request for proposals was discussed whereby Gary Wright had made a proposal to purchase, the old Leader building from the city at a price of $25,000. And the council tentatively accepted that proposal and instructed me to draw the necessary documents. And what you have tonight is an ordinance 2022-020 that approves the redevelopment agreement that's attached. We do these by way of redevelopment agreement rather than a real estate contract because it's part of the TIF district. And we also put some requirements on usage of that property, one of which, first floor shall be used for retail purpose, second floor can be used for residential purposes, but they have to meet all the codes. And the premises can't be used for a tavern or bar or anything with more than 50% of the sales revenue through alcoholic liquor sales, and it can't be used for gambling, and any modification of those restrictions that go on the deed have to come to the city council. So that has been on all the properties that we've rehabbed and sold. They've all had those same requirements. So the ordinance would formally approve the sale of the property. We've already ordered title work, and I actually have that, and everything, of course, was clear. And I think from my emails to Mr. Wright, he's anxious to move forward with this.
I think our ordinance is wrong though, because it says redevelopment agreement with the Greater Livingston County Arts Council.
It is, that
I
tells you
was
which
just
one I
gonna,
use
I was
for.
gonna say that actually.
Let's just fix that. That's the problem when you type your own stuff.
Yeah.
And use a template. That would be Gary Wright.
Yeah, I mean, I knew what it was supposed to be, it just, needs to be fixed.
That's how that happens. I don't recreate the wheel every time I do one.
Oh, I wouldn't either.
Why not?
We'd never get it done. No offense, but.
With that change, any other questions?
Make a motion for approval 2022-0-0.
Motion by Brian, second by Bill Callis. Roll call, please.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Gaber.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Jovanini.
Yes.
Really nice to get that building, like,
will be.
in a good use.
That whole area is gonna.
I'll get revised version, I'll reprint it.
Okay,
I'll
moving
probably put together
on,
the other one.
independent golf contractor. Taylor,
Yes.
tell us what we're into.
Show the ordinance.
Yeah, a lot of good news happening at the golf course. This is just another item to add to that. We have been approached by a gentleman named Kenny Jacobs. He is from Bloomington, Illinois. He's been teaching the game of golf for over 34 years. Really known in the industry. He has a lot of clients. He's taught all over Central Illinois. He's been at the Lincoln Elks. He's been over at the Den. Most recently, he was over at the Lynx. And due to unforeseen circumstances, sounds like they're getting ready to close their doors over there. He is needing a spot to teach his classes and teach his I guess, athletes, his golfers. And he approached us. He met with Shannon and I, and he came over and saw the course, saw our practice facilities, and I took him over to the rec center as well and went through the golf simulator room that we have there. And he was really impressed and wanted to work with us on this. So what you guys have here before you tonight is that agreement with Mr. Jacobs. How it reads right now, and this is how it is over at the links with is regarding payment. We would get 15% of all of his revenue. So he would keep 85%, we would keep 15. So you know, right now we don't get any revenue from golf instruction besides our youth clinic, and that's only, you know, a 2-week period, where this is going to be a year-round activity where we can have them out at the course, and then weather permitting, if it's not working out, we can go indoors to the rec center as well. So really good opportunity to work with an instructor that really knows what he's doing and very well respected in the Central Illinois golf community. So wanted to get your guys' approval on that, and if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those.
He charges and collects from his customers.
Correct, yes. So we'll help promote them, because that's something that we want to do to offer our residents as well as people in the surrounding areas. But yeah, he would collect all the revenue, and then we would monthly, he would spill out what he collected, how many lessons he gave. It'd be very detailed on the collection side of what we're owed.
So I know the positive aspects of increased golf play. But that, I know it's bonded.
Yeah, so that's, we went back and forth between, you know, do we set a monthly rate of what we're going to do, or do we just do the 15%? And we thought it was a better idea to go with that 15%. And that's pretty standard with a lot of this golf instruction in the area to go with that split revenue.
One of the things we looked at with that was with his business that he did down at the links, go with 15% versus a flat rent. They come out ahead in that. And so this circumstance with Mr. Jacobs comes at a pretty opportune time for us, because one, it's not like we're hiring a golf pro where we're going to have investment in it. It's all for us. There's no expense other than he's going to use range balls out there, and he'll have people out on the driving range putting green or the chipping green, whatever. So he'll be using the facility, and for us, gives us an opportunity to have a golf pro at our course that can provide instruction, and then we do collect a little bit of the revenue from it.
So our pro shop people setting up appointments for customers.
No.
Be putting him.
Correct. Yep.
So do you see him bringing a significant book of business already?
Yes.
He's
If
quite
they'll
the
travel, I
instructor.
mean,
Yeah.
he teaches my girls. We've been with him for 13 years.
I'll be one of his
Excellent.
clients.
And I've taken lessons.
taught
He's
two
very
sets
good
of
at all
games.
ages. He handled Danny when she was third,
Nice.
fourth grade. But a lot of his business, of course, is in Bloomington, so I don't know how much will follow him. But the links, as I understand it, was sold for residential development and to the Rave Construction folks. And they've known it about 6 weeks. And I don't know what happens with the golf course proper, but the driving range part, sure. And, he teaches basically 10 hours a day. He stands there all day long doing this. All summertime, it's hard to schedule a replacement lesson if something comes up. He's so busy. But again, in Pontiac, now Bloomington, he has probably, that I know of, at least probably 10 local people that have gone down and taken lessons from him. But as far as golf instruction, I think he's extremely professional. I can vouch for people work with him and practice and do what you're supposed to do. You'll show improvement.
Yeah, I
two
think
good
that's
examples at your
the
house.
best testament is those two girls.
Yeah.
I may not win state championship.
Well, Allie today down in Charleston shot 74-71. So I don't know where she stands in terms of the rank in the tournament. She had a pretty
That's about what I do, 74 in the front 9.
I shoot 71 every round I play, but it might stop at 12.
Yeah.
But no, there's really, and I really think if we can help promote him on our website and link to his scheduling, and, they can come up with a system for him to keep track of, because probably like most small businessmen, he's really good at teaching golf, probably not the best bookkeeper, best person on that. If they can work with him for how to keep those records and account for our 15%, kind of look to Taylor for that. I think he's honest as the day is long, but I think it's busy. I know he keeps it in a book, and he's got a online system where you sign up, schedule lessons online. So,
Lori will get on him. There's no
and
doubt about
so I drafted the agreement just like we would for any other one, but it was my suggestion that it come to the council to approve because it's bigger than most of these instructional programs that Taylor just approves himself.
Well, the other side of this coin is that it'll attract people to the golf course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If they come in and take a lesson and go play.
Yeah,
And
we're
locals
looking
that are
for this
looking
too,
for instruction.
The more people we get in, the better it is for the course,
Pontiac
and the
High
more
School.
exposure.
School still plays
Pardon me?
for nothing, right? Correct?
Correct, yeah. They make a small donation every year, but yeah, they're in their
was thinking-
season.
I brought this up over.
And Bill, that's the best thing that the school, the course has always done, even when it was the Elks.
Right.
Once they're in season, those kids can go out there, and a lot of people don't know that. The kids can go out and use the facilities as much as they want, driving range, play, no charge during the golf season, the kids on the golf team.
In years past, I've suggested spring, when we have a spring cleanup, we invite the high school to help pick up sticks. I don't think that's out of line.
Well, I'm sure if you gave Mr. Ritter a call,
They always have, when asked.
and they tend to be pretty good stewards of the course. I've watched the kids, and, they're on them about making sure you fix your ball marks and your divots, and leave the courses better than you found.
Would he run our clinics?
So yeah, I've talked to him about, in conjunction with Allie and Danny, doing some youth things, just with their schedules, they're
He
so
did a
busy
clinic,
this
he did a
summer.
clinic at Links every year for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't have a whole lot of success with the, the older to middle-aged group. So, bringing him on brings credibility,
Yep.
and I think it's going to be a whole different ball game as far as programming with him. I think he's going to do a great job for us.
Sounds like a win for the
Yeah,
course.
This actually all started when we found out that he was gonna lose his place to teach, when I asked whether they would have an objection to him coming up here and giving my family the weekly lesson. That's how it started.
Yeah.
Because we were gonna be without, we were asking if we could use the facility without stepping on any toes. And it morphed into this, which I think is positive.
Very good. Any other questions for Taylor or for Alan? If not, do we have somebody?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mike Barr, second by Jason Lee. Roll call, please.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Gaber.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Jovanini.
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
And I might just send this to him by email to DocuSign tomorrow and get it on,
Sounds good.
get your signature as you sign.
All right. Moving on, property acquisition. Jim, you've got some news for us?
So this property at 222 East Timber Street has been a kind of a problem property. It's in bad shape. The roof is in bad shape. The whole property is in bad shape. It's not a livable property. It was sold to Jesse Alderson and Brittany Rollins for $1,000. What they probably didn't know, and I can't speak for them, but that the property is in a floodway, and to make improvements on it, you can't spend more than half of the value of the property, which there isn't much value. It'd take forever to try and do that. They have come to us, knowing that they're now kind of in a quandary there, and offered to just deed the property over to the city. It's in TIF 1, and it would provide an opportunity for the city then to renovate that land and make it more sellable for someone else, demolishing that house and removing it. So it's an option that we thought was worth presenting.
It's one of those that's on its final, there's nobody else but us to take care of. We've had property owner complaints, not that the rest of the block is that great, but, this is really low end. And I've actually called, actually I wrote a letter and I talked to Shelley Rankin to have her evaluate the EAV of this property, see if they can make sure the taxes are very low for this year because it's not livable. She had it down as owner occupied. It's assessed like it's worth $30,000.
Oh. Wow. That's in our ward.
And
So, this is just what we do. We get the thing, minimal cost, and then it'll cost the city money to go through the demolition.
We've
And
done
you end up
something,
getting revenues.
we've done something similar in that general area already.
Well,
right?
we've done it all over town.
Yeah, all over.
We're probably on, I don't know, we've got maybe a dozen properties over the years. And it's really the only way to get rid of them. The bottom line is when they get so bad, nobody will.
The 3 Washington Street properties would be the last ones that we've done.
Yeah.
We did one down on Oak Street, then one down Oak Street a year or so ago. We had the
Yep.
one on Oak Street.
Polk.
And the lot next door to David's was where they have the diner. That was originally one the city had in rehab. Yes.
I believe John Willie knew of one too.
Yeah. That one was a challenge, wasn't it, John?
Yes, it was.
So,
But we confirmed with them their willingness to make the conveyance. So I will do the deed this week and get them to execute it. And then I'll probably file, if Shelley hasn't changed the assessment, since the city would then be the owner, I'll probably file a protest tax assessment. I do have title work already, and believe it or not, other than problem with it, I mean, they've got clear title. Unless something's changed, I'll verify nothing.
So a question, say we go ahead and do this, we'll get rid of it, will it buy it have a problem with?
They'll have the flood
building
problem
because
too,
it's a
unless they're
flood
gonna make it yard or garden. The neighbors want it for a little bigger yard or place for the kids to play, or to have the old personal food forest.
Because we need to get rid of an eyesore, I'm just saying, if there's,
They've got the same problem.
we'll have an issue.
They can build, can't they, if they build a certain spec? Yeah, they just have to build. Yeah.
We do the demolition.
We hire the demolition done typically, and the city does it right. Jim will find out all there is to know about lead and asbestos abatement, so we have it inspected for those sorts of things, have it abated, and then typically, depending on the house, this is one Chris's can do, it's a one. So this is one that city crews can do. I think you did 2 of the 3 over in Washington. Did all 3 of them ultimately? Yeah, Bob thought it was gonna be 2 of the 3.
We hired,
That's a beautiful corner down there in Washington. I've had a lot of comments.
the color.
Jim, that's a beautiful corner down there in Washington. I've had a lot of comments.
We hired, Color.
Jim, that's a beautiful corner down there in Washington. I've had a lot of comments. I've had a lot of comments.
Maybe it becomes another food.
That is a
Possible.
location that it would be.
They would have a lot of people around
Well,
there
It
that
would.
could
there is,
benefit from
over
it.
that direction, I was sitting here thinking about it, you're gonna displace the community garden people, I don't know how many there are, but there is the lot the city owns that, this is
Across.
Donovan, Pauline Donovan, down by Chautauqua, just in floodplain.
I think that's already garden. The neighbors just have taken that over.
Yeah, the old Eyes and Fuel.
Yeah.
We're actually going to the lot next to the city has lots there. Lot.
Well, hopefully, these young folks understand how much planting, it's easy, the care long-term, or to keep it productive and pruned, and they're probably gonna try to do it organically, yes. And that's a lot of extra work. So I hope they understand what they're biting off, but can be successful. Starting small is good.
It's the third, fourth, fifth, and on that really.
But I applaud their efforts. So
Yes,
needed.
definitely. Any other questions on the property acquisition?
If you want me to, as long as nobody has objection, I'll just go ahead and do the deed, and I can bring back with the deed an ordinance for formal acceptance of the property. But I wanted to know there was no major objection from the councilman before we, had them execute the deed. Maybe a motion to direct me to prepare an ordinance to accept the conveyance. Donors.
I so move.
Motion by John Willie, second by Don Hicks. Roll call, please.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicks, Bradshaw,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Gaber,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
I know it's hard to believe, but Jake has a little something to talk to us about.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Um, So currently, the wastewater treatment plant, we're about 95% complete. It is anticipated by Friday, November 11th, which is, I believe that's Veterans Day. We should be fully operational with every process in the plant. Every process should be fully up and running. Might not be completely automated, but every tank should be full, every clarifier should be spinning, everything should be running. Our original substantial completion date for the contract was October 15th, which was Saturday. And if anyone has driven by the plant today, you can see that we're not 100% complete. We're not substantially complete yet either. And what this is the more or less the repercussions of the COVID pandemic finally catching up to us. We started the 3-year contract for the treatment plant upgrade shortly before the pandemic hit, and since then we've had the many of the contractors off for extended amounts of time based on when they were either down with COVID or were around it. Equipment and manufacturers, there's been severe delays, and especially about the past 12 months, so we've seen a little bit of that here towards the end. Employee retainage has been a struggle nationwide for about the past year, and some of the contractors are seeing that as well. So pretty much a culmination of all that has gotten us to the point where they're needing a little bit more time to complete the project. We are proposing extending the substantial completion date to December 31st of this year, and then also the final payment date to June 30th of 2023. Now, the advantage of that is the original contract, the final payment date was before 2023. It was in December. Well, if you can see the treatment plant now, most of it is still mud. They've got some grass to grow. But if we were to completely finalize this project in December, the general contractor, it'd be hard pressed to get them back in the spring once the contract's complete to actually help get vegetation to take back off and restore the site to what it was prior to the contract. So extending these two dates is advantageous to us, for the fact that we can hold them to the fire to June of '23 to ensure that site restoration is properly completed, and we do have grass and vegetation and all of that restored. So we'd be extending the contract approximately 2.5 months. This is no cost to us whatsoever. This is more or less a formality to the EPA and to the general contractor, giving them another 2.5 months to complete. The EPA does consider this a change order, although there is no cost to us or to the contractor. How we submit the extension to the EPA, it is considered a change order of the project. So what I'm proposing is technically change order number 9, although there is no financial liabilities involved in this. So I would ask that we extend that contract to December 31st as a substantial completion and a final payment date to June 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Kelly, seconded by Brian to extend the contract. Roll call, please.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Gaber.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Jovanini.
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. It is looking pretty good out there, actually. Yep. And now, Chris has got a few things to talk about.
Oh, just one. I'm gonna spend some money if that's okay. We'd like to move forward with our final budget purchase of the year. As you recall, when we did the budget process, we had a list of 5 things, and with it being so hard to procure items, we asked to have permission to utilize one sum of money and find within that list what we could, given availability. We'd like to purchase a subcompact utility tractor. It's the John Deere 1025R. It's similar to the tractor that Taylor uses. One of the issues we have, and what would help us in the near term, is going to be with snow removal, particularly downtown. We've had ongoing issues getting our sidewalks clear in a timely manner. So our goal is to be able to use where it would take normally 4 or 5 guys with snow blowers. We could set one person up with the tractor and somebody just to clean the ADA ramps and work ahead of the plow crews to be able to get those sidewalks cleaned off. And it'd be nice to have a unit with a heated cab, so you're not in open air when it's 5 below 0 and the wind's blowing. We used Taylor's actually last year with a snow plow, but you had to bundle up pretty good. We did the bridges and things like that. We really didn't do a lot downtown with it. So we did solicit some prices. We did check locally. They had a unit in stock. And then we checked through our Sourcewell bidding consortium. That's who we bought our fuel island material through, where they go out and do the bidding on different commodities. And their discount through that was 18%, which was just, I think it was 17.9 through the local dealer. So we opted to stay locally. The total for the tractor and equipment was $27,800, and we have 2 front mount lawnmowers that we no longer use since we went to 0 turns. And so I asked them what they would offer us on trade for those. And for both their 2004 model years, for the 1445, they offered us $3,500, and the 1565, they offered us $5,500, for a total of $9,000 off, which would bring the total to $18,800. We felt it was a fair offer for our used equipment. It's been sitting for 3 years now. It's not being utilized. So we would like to move forward with the purchase for a price of $18,800 from Prairie State Tractor here in town.
Any questions for Chris?
I'd like to move that we accept.
There's a motion right there. Yes, good idea.
I'll second.
And seconded by John Willie.
Well, this tractor also offers other options with hydraulics.
Correct.
Or 3-point hitches.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
There's
So
options
it's a very-
down the road that we
very
could get for it.
Make sure you put a block heater in it.
Huh?
Engine block heater. Sure.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. How about a roll call, please?
Hicks,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Gaber.
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Jovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, moving on, mayor's comments. I had a comment about Miles of Possibilities, which is coming up this weekend, I believe. Program Liz is going to be working quite a bit on and with. It's gonna be quite an affair. I guess Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
It is, and it'll be at the Eagle. You'll start off Thursday night with a hot dog cookout by the mural, 66 mural, so I think it's supposed to be a little bit warmer that
Yeah.
night than it is tonight, with the lack of snow, but, Saturday is probably the main event day. That's, there's a round table featuring, former Mayor Russell, Bob Carls, Ellie Alexander, and Liz and Mary, so they'll be the main presenters of that, so I think that'll be a good conference, and I think this is that group's 7th conference, so.
Good. We're looking forward to that. I didn't make it out to, the Oaks Saturday night. I understand they had a pretty good crowd. And the only thing I heard was a couple people told me that they needed to turn their hearing aids down. It's a little loud.
But it
But-
really wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad?
Wasn't too
Yeah.
bad.
I didn't think.
Okay.
I'd been there and hit in the speakers.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
Really good.
That part's great. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that, since we've realigned the standing committees, we should probably look at having, at least a quarterly meeting of each committee to kind of gel more thoughts and put our other plans into action. Other than that, I've heard nothing but compliments about the library. Had their fall festivities here this last week. Well attended. And I hear a lot of compliments about the Howard Street project, hoping it would all get done. And half the people think that we're doing it, so I haven't corrected them. So, they haven't
Maybe
been
you
asking
should
about their
due to
street.
the,
Yeah.
length of time it's taking.
Well, yeah, it's getting a little on there, but it's coming along.
But
Like
it
it's
is a program that 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
Project itself.
Okay. City council comments.
Just a little information. There's been people that already get free garden food downtown. Get it? Facts. 2 gardens. Green beans were beautiful one night. He was gonna go back the next morning, get them. We're all gone the next morning.
Any other? How about city administrator?
Well, I'd like to welcome you back home to the chambers. I wanted to take a minute and just thank the staff. It took a lot of work to try and get this set up. We had a lot of discussions. Initially, we talked about facing that way, and then we decided, look, we really want to face the public. But it's kind of been a logistical issue, as you can tell with what we got going. So, this is kind of in its beta form, so if you have any feedback, please let me know, or let Andrew know. If it's positive feedback, let me know. If it's negative, Andrew, it'd be great. And if you have an opportunity to review the stream and take a listen to how the sound is on that as well, and but we'll accept any feedback. We know this is our first opportunity. We have a couple different cameras where they're able to try to make sure everyone who's speaking is the public would be able to see that's watching online. So hopefully the sound system in the back works well, but it took a big team effort to get this available for tonight. If you had been here 2 days ago, you'd have thought we'd have never been ready for this. So, well, Friday, maybe not Saturday, but otherwise, that's all I have. So I do ask that.
Back in the command center, are they controlling these currently? So
Yes,
these are
I
live?
was, I made a comment, and maybe I shouldn't make this a public comment, but when we talked about this, Andrew had some ideas, and David Kennedy also is a big part of the sound and the technology involved in this. And I didn't set a lot of parameters, and so this has become quite like they can push buttons and it'll pop and turn that camera to different places. So I think maybe they are enjoying this a little too much. So
how careful do we have to be when I whisper to my partner?
I think when we were hearing, while you might not hear the speaker back there, even sitting back, you can hear it on the internet, I think, pretty well. So, yeah.
But I'm still not hearing. Like, I can't hear Bill.
Oh, really?
But
it doesn't
I
sound
think
like
he
our
needs-
microphones.
We don't
are
have the
on.
microphones on.
They are on.
Well, they're on, but I think you have to lean forward to
Yeah.
actually get the.
And I think that is just
Really?
to
Wow.
connect to the in-house speaker.
Right.
But they are sensitive enough to pick up the stream. They pick that up better than it does here. So if you want the public to hear, you're going to want to, is that right, David?
David?
A little.
Yeah?
A little.
Leaning in a little bit would help across
Okay.
the board.
Yep.
But we are dialing them in so that as you get back. The
It's
stream
like
sounds really nice, but
the Bob
proximity
Season.
to the mic doesn't make a big difference. So if you can lean forward a little bit, that would be.
But any, like I said, any comments about the layout, the sound, the way it looks. Eventually, I am going to get, if we decide whatever our layout is, we'll finalize with better tables and something that comes down a little lower to the ground, so it's closed in, and make it look a little more professional and like a city council should.
When I was in here Friday with them, I came in to kind of get a sneak preview, and then the microphones were really, you could hear the click of the pen there. And so he told me, if I want to have a conversation with Bill, we should probably go back. We don't want it.
I'm about over this bronchitis I've had. I'll talk louder.
All right.
Can I want to back up to ask a question about leaf collection. Chris still here? Do you know, when it's gonna start? I know leaves are just starting to fall, but
We had it scheduled to start this week, so we'll be out.
do you think we're gonna have a problem with manpower?
So far, we're okay. They've been coming, they've been able to find us 3 of the 4 that we need.
Yeah,
So if they hold tight with us, we'll be okay.
yeah.
IDOT's got a sign up on the internet out
Yeah.
there, looking for part-time help to possible. Still
Yeah, so
pretty thin.
talking with their rep and they're experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, I that's what I mean. If, do we have a plan B if we don't get enough help?
All of us.
$20 an hour.
We've had, we're like on our 2nd generation of people
Yeah,
after 4 weeks now. So we've had people coming and going. So
yeah,
once it gets to the nitty-gritty, we'll find out.
yeah.
So good. Public comments.
I just had a question about the ice rink, but Taylor already answered. People were already asking us when they're gonna open it up, and he already gave you the answer.
Yes.
So I'll go back and tell them.
We're,
The ice rink.
well, we're not anxious for the real cold weather yet, so.
When is it supposed to open, Taylor?
So we try to, and Chris can speak better to this, but we try to have it ready by Thanksgiving. Now, it's not gonna happen, probably, but it's usually that first December ready if the started from square one, basically.
We plan to start setup next week. Start moving it in and putting it together.
Yeah.
Like I say, hopefully we get some, I like the warm weather, so.
Too early for this.
Got that right.
All right. That basically ends our meeting. Any other comments? We'll have a motion to adjourn by John Willie and seconded by Jamie Bradshaw. Roll call, please. Huh? Well, then good. We're closed. Thank you.
Roger, Dodger, you old codger, over, under, and out.